I am speaking directly to you because if you have visions like that, if you envision yourself being a part of creating something like that where people come in and they're like, I would never go anywhere else, then you owe it to yourself to act on it. Hey everybody, my name is Brian Gallagher. I'm a physical therapist and I am the founder and owner of Meg Business Management. Meg Business Management does virtual billing, virtual front desk, virtual credentialing, website design, and Meg Academy. And I'm coming to you here today live from my room here, office, I should say, to try and get right into this 4-part series of how to be motivated, inspired, and have some degree of personal incentive to want to do something different than what you've done before. And in this first part, what I'd like to talk about is the entrepreneurial mindset. This is probably the most important factor in your success if you're choosing to go into private practice as a business owner. Many people choose to just run their career as an employee working for someone else, whether it be institutional physical therapy, hospitals, nursing homes, things of that nature, or outpatient orthopedics, school systems, home health, whatever sector you're looking to do. I'm trying to focus in on, at this point in time, for you as my listeners, on how you can succeed in the outpatient private practice world. And that could be specializing in pediatrics, cash-based services, cash and insurance, which we call a hybrid model, or just all insurance, traditional insurance models. Regardless of how you want to tackle it and where you gravitate toward in terms of your patient, preferences and demographics and population that you seek to treat, you still have the business aspect to confront. And let's just be honest. The truth of the matter is we never got what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, executive, and leader. Those are 3 different things. Leading, being an executive, more on the managerial side, and entrepreneur, being a visionary. We didn't get that in PT school. I didn't get it in PT school. I've not met anybody else who says, oh yeah, that was covered in its entirety and I'm a benefactor of that. That is not, maybe you might have an elective on it or a project on it. Where I'm coming from with that is because we have this huge void and that bridge hasn't been covered. I've spent my whole career, my whole life trying to build a program that is an MBA-like, we're not MBA certified or anything like that, but MBA-like program just exclusively for you as being a private practice owner, regardless of what structure you choose to be in. And to that end, the very first feature of that is you. The very first factor in your success is you. I like to say we've never had a startup fail, going all the way back to 2006 when we started doing startups. Meg started in 2006, never had a startup fail. Every startup has made it to their 3rd year anniversary viable. And that's my benchmark because 85% of most businesses will fail in their first 2 years of being in business. We've never experienced that. So one of the reasons why we've never experienced that, because you maybe say, well, why is that different? How are you getting different statistics than everybody else? One of the major factors of that is because I talk to you about your beingness. Like, who are you as a person? Some people don't have the beingness, if you will, don't have the personal traits or characteristics or mindset, which is what this series is all about, to be a successful owner. Now, that's not saying you can't get that mindset and actually change your approach and change your way of thinking about things and be successful as a practice owner, because you can. But it's not natural. It's typically we're not typically born with that. You have to groom that. You have to, water that, seed that, fertilizer that inside yourself. And where that comes from is your confidence, your certainty, your self-worth. That's the beingness of an entrepreneur that I'm talking about. Because an entrepreneur, much like an actor, is going to take rejection 8 out of 10 times for that 1 or 2 out of 10 times where they're going to hit success. You have to be willing to weather that. My daughter's an actress and she says, Dad, I'm in the profession of auditioning. When I land the part and I have a gig and I have something I could really, do well, that's the cherry on top. That's the gift. That's the bonus. But I literally went into a profession of being a professional auditioner. In physical therapy, being a good skilled clinician is the foundation or the baseline for your understanding of how the clinicians in your future business experience being an employee. You take that with you, you never forget it, and you learn from that. But you have to have this entrepreneurial spirit, this vision to come up with something that nobody else has done, to think about an environment that no one else has created in your mind, to your experience, right? Because up until now, you only know what you know. You only know what you've experienced in the jobs that you've had or in the affiliations you've been on. Oftentimes, you find yourself in a position where you're a little bit blissfully discontent. And this is factor number one of knowing you have an entrepreneurial spirit, of knowing you have that entrepreneurial beingness that is going to really serve you well in ownership. And you know that because even though the job is paying you decently, and even though you have that 401k and that retirement plan, and you enjoy the people you work with, you're blissful, right? You like your patients, you like your coworkers, but you're a bit discontent. You have a little bit of that mental conversation going on in your head where you're like, well, if I stay where I am and I keep doing what I'm doing, a snapshot of me now and a snapshot of me 5 years from now isn't going to change all that much. Like, I might be making $5,000 more a year, maybe 10 if I'm lucky, maybe I'm a clinical director, but somebody else is still telling me when to come to work, when to go home, when I can take a lunch break, how long I can take a lunch break, when I can take a vacation, what benefits I can have or not have. Can I have a vacation? At some point, the entrepreneur beingness, the entrepreneur person, hopefully that's you, which constitutes 10% of the population. 90% of the population is just happy, following the lead of other people and contributing, positively, contributing in abundance to the successful mission and purpose that those leaders have in mind for that company and that group. And thank goodness, because you're going to want to surround yourself with that same kind of talented, willing, and able people who forward your purpose as well. But they want to support somebody who demonstrates vision. So here's step number 2. Once you know that you're blissfully discontent, can you get out a blank piece of paper, write on the top, my ideal scene, and write just in bullet points, doesn't have to be narrative, just bullet point out, if everything were to go the way you wanted it to go, both in your personal life and professional life, what does that look like? Because if I'm going to take my family on a trip, let's say I'm going to take a family vacation to, Six Flags or Cozumel or something, who knows? I have to know where my end destination is, how many days I'm going to be there, how are we going to feed ourselves, what activities are we going to do, what does the final picture of that vacation look like? And then I'll work out the logistics of flights and hotels and, Uber and rental cars or whatever has to go along with that. The logistics are where you get hung up. But I'm telling you, a very successful owner, an entrepreneur, does not get hung up there. An entrepreneur gets really focused on the vision and designing the ideal scene that they have for themselves because they already know that they're blissfully discontent, that they can't stay where they are. They know it's going to be a cop-out. They know it's going to be a life of settling. And that's not fair to you on any level. So if you truly have some entrepreneurial spirit, you can write that ideal scene and have that vision of exactly how you want that practice to go. I hear it all the time. Just last night, 7:00 at night, I was talking to two young therapists who are about to get married, and they have decided that they can't continue working for somebody else. They have a multidisciplinary clinic in mind with personal fitness training and some nutrition and PT, and they want to do cash and insurance, and they want to take the best of the insurance carriers and ditch the rest. Some carriers, they were telling me, are paying $40 a visit. I'm like, that's insulting. Absolutely, you shouldn't be taking $40 a visit. And so they wanted my help on how to put that together and in what sequence they need to do it in. And my first bit of advice was, what do you envision your life being like if we open this practice? What does it look like? What is your life like at that point? And she clearly knew. She's like, I want 3 clinics, all within 30 miles of each other, or 30 minutes of each other rather. And I want to have a specialty in, sports and fitness and wellness and nutrition, and have our main office be carrying that, and the other 2 offices be more family oriented. I want to have a couple pediatric clinicians handling some kids. I want to have the rest being senior clinicians handling, adults, orthopedics, sports, and even a lot of Medicare patients, helping the 70-year-old live their life in optimal health, just like you want the 25-year-old to be that high-performing athlete. No matter what age spectrum they're in, we want them to be in optimal health, which is why we want a nutritionalist, personal fitness training, and physical therapy. Physical therapy will take care of them. Nutrition will help them get on a diet plan that'll enhance their physical outcomes, their well-being, and then personal fitness training will be the aftercare program. And I was like, that's great. Like, what vision? Now, she doesn't know how to get there. She didn't know how to do it, how to get the money and the financing and the structure and who do I hire first, second, third, fourth. That's what we're doing. That's why she called us. I am speaking directly to you because if you have visions like that, if you envision yourself being a part of creating something like that where people come in and they're like, I would never go anywhere else, then you owe it to yourself to act on it. You owe it to yourself to have the confidence and the self-worth to invest in you. Get that SBA loan for $35,000 to $100,000. People spend more than that on a car. Use that to buy your training, to get your MBA-like training so that you know what to do, how to do pay for performance, what the 5-division organization looks like, what is the appropriate stats and metrics. And in future episodes of this series, I'm going to dig into some of the particulars and the logistics. But you have to first be aware of all the elements that you have to confront, right? You have to confront them and you have to have command over them. You have to have knowledge and certainty and the ability to apply. If I watch a YouTube channel like this and I'm listening to the person, I want to know, like, what tools are you going to give me? Like, how am I going to watch this video and just get bright ideas and think that that's enough? It's not enough. Here's tool number 1. Write down that ideal scene like I talked about. Here's tool number 2. Google Gantt chart. Understand that a Gantt chart is the sequential structure that you're going to use to actually go from thought to full execution. That's number 2. Number 3, get yourself a coach. Whether it's Meg Business and Meg Academy, whether I'm your coach, all startups, I do all startup coaching. Whether it's us or somebody else, I'm telling you, you're going to save time and money, stress and effort by having somebody who's been there before, who's been successful at it, who's worked hundreds of people through it, because you're not going to have to guess. Bullet point number 4, action step number 4 that you can take away from this episode is invest in yourself so that you have the knowledge, ability, and skill, the ability to apply what you learned, in advance of you needing to know it. The most successful people on planet Earth are the ones that get the knowledge and training before they have to apply it, not the ones that are in the hot water trying to get out of it or trying to tread water or trying to learn as they go or flying by the seat of their pants. You're going to make way more mistakes and spend a lot more money doing it that way. You should know what 2,000 square feet well-designed is going to give you in terms of the number of production centers. The number of production centers tells you the patient volume you can do. The patient volume you do tells you how many staff you need. And how do you set that up so that you only have clinical staff working for you on payroll? Everything else is off payroll. If this is inspiring you and this is motivating you to get on it and really dig into it and really learn about how to start your own business from the 4 walls of your home or from the 1,500 square foot space down the street, then by all means, you owe it to yourself to investigate and get the knowledge, training, and skills from somebody who can coach you along so that you can be, basically insulated from the downturns, pitfalls, and landmines that are out there when starting your own business. Because what you need to do is get successful to year 3. Once you're at year 3, you're in established practice. From here, it's called scaling. From year 3 on, we're going to scale up that practice. And once we're busting at 85% or greater of maximum efficiency in that location, then we're going to expand. Then we're going to expand into a second location. If that's your goal, maybe it's not. Maybe you just want that family practice of a 2,000 square foot office and you want to be nestled in there, having a nice 6-figure income with 5 people, 6 people working with you. That's bliss too. Look, that is just complete happiness. And you know why? Because you're holding the steering wheel. And here's my last parting message for you. What is this all about? If I were to ask you, why do you want to go do this? You're going to say all the reasons why you want to do it for how it's going to benefit others. But let me ask you this question. How is it going to benefit you? What is your purpose in starting your own business and starting your own clinic? What is your win? What is your benefit? What is your brass ring that you're pulling off the merry-go-round for achieving it, for achieving that level of success? When we won Practice of the Year in 2011, somebody said, well, you finally did it. You finally achieved your goal. I'm like, that was never my goal. Winning Practice of the Year in 2011 was wonderful. It's a great bragging rights. That's great news. My goal wasn't that. My purpose, my mission, my goal, the reason why I work is for freedom. I want to be grateful for those around me. I want to give back to everyone who contributes to me in a way that they're actually doing better in life than they ever could if we hadn't been together. And that should lead to freedom. Freedom, by definition for me, is having maximal financial stability complemented with optimal time flexibility. When I was running my practices on 15 to 20 hours a week, treating patients and the rest doing the admin and taking vacations and spending time and enhancing my staff and giving them bonuses and giving them an exchange in abundance in terms of eliminating all the stresses from them, to the point where I heard repeatedly that they would never work anywhere else, even if somebody tried to lure them away with more money, I knew I arrived. I knew I succeeded in attaining my goal. I knew my purpose was in hand because I felt that freedom. I felt that like there's nothing any different president or any different economical change could do that would affect me, because I've insulated myself against that by successfully preparing my practice and my company culture and the people I do it with through financial stability and optimal time flexibility. It never was about running harder and faster on the treadmill and doing more longer. It was never about hustling and turning it into a mill and just cranking them out. You see that, and you see other people do that. And I hope that's not what you're interested in. I hope what you really want is you want to be the best of the rest. You want to have that practice where you're not talking about doing it right, but your actions are demonstrating how it's done right. And your patients see it, your referral sources see it, your staff sees it, and most importantly, your family feel it. If that's what you want, and that's what you want to achieve in your life, then by all means, get connected with us here at Meg Business Management. We have a holiday special going on right now. Check it out on our website. You can schedule a free practice assessment call with myself. Even if you're a student, even if you're a staff therapist, we can get on the phone for an hour and talk about where it is you want to go, and I'd be happy to help you with that. Please click like and subscribe if you like these videos. I'm going to do more of these types of series, and I'm going to give you more tools in the upcoming episodes on how you can actually launch and be successful and be highly motivated and incentivized while doing it, and cheerful, of course, in running your own startup physical therapy practice. Thanks for coming and visiting my YouTube channel. I'm very grateful for your time.